let's get started, everybody. Welcome. Hope you're all doing well. A couple things going on. Number one. Actually, let me update here. So, last week, I met with other science teachers and other physics teachers, and we are beginning to design our finals for this class. We will be having a final in this class, and you will take part somewhere in the middle of June. And I don't have a specific date yet, but as it comes closer, I will let you know. Now, my goal is that there should be a few days for us to review, so I'm going to try to build that in. That being said, topics that seem to be on this final that we're kind of thinking of, a couple of them are kinematics and dynamics. That has to do with things like calculating velocity, calculating acceleration. If velocity is here, if my initial velocity is this and my final velocity is this, what is acceleration? Some free fall might be thrown in there. Some projectile motion might be thrown in there. Just things to think about. So that's kind of one part, and we've spent a decent amount of time working on those things, so I think we'll be okay. However, we will review toward as we get closer. The second part to that, we're going to be going over, or the second part of that test will be over a topic we haven't learned yet, actually. It's called energy. So what we're going to do, or what I think the best thing for us to do in order to prepare for that final, is that after today, we're going to take a break from talking about momentum. We're going to switch gears to energy, and if we have time, we'll go back to momentum. But you will find that momentum and energy are very similar to each other, or at least the concepts are very similar to each other, so I don't think it'll be a huge change. So, starting tomorrow, this week, if you know it or not, is our yellow week. It's our yellow phase week. So tomorrow we will not be meeting in person, but you will have an ed puzzle for our new lesson on energy. Questions, comments, concerns? So it's just something to look out for. Today, we're going to continue working on whatever you need to work on. You'll notice that your gradebook has been updated. Please make sure that when you finish watching the ed puzzles, you just press the turn in button, because it lets me know that you've watched them. It makes things a little easier for me to check and make sure that grades are good. You'll notice that in your gradebook, if you watch an ed puzzle, I made it in the assignment, you get a little check mark. That looks, you know that I know that you've watched it. You know that I know that you know that I watched it. And then at the end of the quarter, I'm going to count how many of those things that you watched, and that'll be towards a classroom grade. Just to let you know. Any questions in regards to grading? Or grades that have been updated this week? Let's talk about what we're going to work on today. I wrote a little to-do list that was posted into the chat already, but I'm going to post it again. That is as follows. Oh, I wasn't scroll down. Angie, no worries, thanks for letting me know. Sorry, I didn't scroll way down. Cool. So here is 5 things that we're kind of working on. Hopefully, you're somewhere in this class. And I'm going to also show you these things on Google Classroom. The first step is in our lesson 4.1a momentum. And it's watching this ed puzzle on momentum. You should, at this point, this should be done. So if you're not at this point, if you haven't done this yet, you're behind. That's definitely number 1. Number 2 is once you've watched that ed puzzle, the next step is there's this concept builder on the physics classroom. Even though, on the physics classroom, if you watch the video, it's pretty easy, and it shouldn't take you long. At this point, this should also kind of be done, and if you're not at this point, you are behind. momentum, change, and impulse. So number 3 and 4 on that to-do list are, we have 2 other egg lessons. And it's one big lesson, but I separated it into 2 egg lessons. And they're on momentum change. So when we change momentum, when an object is acted upon by an unbalanced force, creates an acceleration. An acceleration is a change in velocity. If we change velocity, then our momentum changes. And when we have a change in momentum, we call that impulse. That's what this next lesson is. And one of them is more theoretical, and the other one goes over practice problems. I would definitely recommend checking that out. And if you're somewhere on these 2 videos, like that's kind of where I expect you to be. Reasonable. And if you're on top of your game, the next one is this lesson 4.1b Egg Drop Interactive. And this is going to be the first lab of this quarter. I want to show you this. I don't know if I showed it to you last week, but I'm going to show you again. So this lab is actually all in a Google form. And it's all multiple choice questions. Hold on. There we go. This interactive, so you're going to be using an interactive onto this classroom and then putting all of your answers onto this Google form. This interactive involves observing the results of dropping an egg onto a surface. The size of the egg, the height from which it's dropped, and the characteristics of the landing surface can be varied. The effect of these variations upon the safety of the egg will be examined. The interactive is based on an impulse momentum change theorem. Questions below target an interactive ability to reason scientifically. And then you'll see that there is a link to the interactive that you'll be using. Look like this. In this activity, you're going to act as a scientist and you're going to design trials that determine the effects of changing the size of an egg, its height, and what it lands on. We're looking at its momentum. Looking at if the egg breaks, does it fracture, does it land safely. For example, if I choose a jumbo egg, drop it at a height of 3 to 5 meters onto a landing surface. I can run that trial, go look at it. And it'll tell me some information that the egg is broken, and I can use that to help answer the questions on the Google form. The questions will help guide you on things to do. So for example, when a small egg is dropped into a 1-inch platform, from which height did the egg break? So, in that case, you go onto the interactive, you click small egg, the 1-inch platform, and you try the different heights to see which one broke. Some of these are select all that apply, and others are just one multiple choice question. To get credit for the ones that say select all apply, you have to get all of them correct. So I think the most is 2 that are probably in each one of these. So you just have to make sure you get all of those correct in order to get the credit for that. When you click submit at the end of this, it'll pop out a score that's out of 14 points because there are 14 questions. However, you do have the opportunity to check your answers, see your answers, and then if you'd like to do it again, you can do it again for a higher score. I think that's fair. Additionally, the way that I would do this is I would probably write my answers on a sheet of paper first, have that all done, and then once I have that all done, I would then put them on the Google form because I don't want you to go halfway through the Google form and then your computer shuts down or you exit out and then you can lose all of your work. So that's just the way I would recommend it. Have everything on a sheet of paper and then put it in your Google form, and then you can check to see what answers are right or incorrect. You can make notes on your sheet of paper and help you organize and put everything back into the Google form.
Taking the lead.
So these are the 5 things that we are kind of working on.
Enemy friendly.
Questions, comments, concerns? Last thing before I let everybody go and get started working, as always, got questions about yourself, share your screen, whatever. It seems like it's a little bit helpful if you don't want to talk to everybody. I'm going to set up extra help for the meeting. When that can meet, be a little bit more private, and share your screen, you can talk a little bit more in depth, do whatever, it's just an optional, something that's optional if you like to utilize that. And that's all I have to say. If there are no questions first, let's get started. Otherwise, yeah, let's get started. Yes, Christian, you can use a lot of it. You'll be able to read it. I will probably update grades again this weekend, or by the time this week. Update grades on top.
Bruh.